do they have an automated system of collection of revenue? That will be my number 3. And I hope, Governor, you are noting so that it is easy for you to answer. Let me finish with this, Chair. And I want to look at their documents which they are provided. Chair, this will be my final question, Governor, on the use of goods and services. I find it interesting in your expenses, which are necessary. For example, you in use and goods, that is not number 7 in your financial statements. And I hope your staff are kind enough to show you that is page 19, not number 7 on your financial statements. You did general expenses of 2.1 million. You went ahead and did printing and stationery of 4.5 million. General office expenses, you for 2.1, I hope chair members are noting this, and then you go ahead and do printing and stationery at 4.5 million. Then you go ahead and do computer accessories at 1.2 million. So when we talk about general office expenses, what do you mean? Because for me, and then interesting expenses, Governor, that you have done, you have catering of 3.4 million. So I assume people take chai and mandazi. With noting that in your financial statement, which belongs to the patients in food and ratios, is 4.6 million. But in catering services, Chair, you are spending 3.4 million, which doesn't add up. So you will give us a justifiable reasoning. Governor, another expenses which I find it unfortunate is the health celebrations. I don't know whether you are celebrating that people in Nandi are health, or what do you mean? And you spend 2.1 million on health celebrations. And then, Chair, that's why I will need convincing, because Governor, I have heard you talking about share, the delay in remittances, the sustainability of our hospitals. Chair, and I have noted another thing, Chair, and I hope members will bear with me. Subscription, no, sorry, that is okay. You are spending almost a quarter of water expenses, 800,000. You are spending on airtime, telephone, and communication expenses of 480,000. But water, you are spending it at 800,000. Chair, you now have visited a number of facilities, including the latest at Combe dispenser, and they have a challenge with water. So all this, Chair, I have turned at Governor in your unnecessary expenses, because renal supplies, medical cases, medical laboratory reagents, branding linen, which is understandable, the issue of fuel and oil transport, which is 2.6 million, fuel for production. I will need clarity, Governor, because that is why this clerical error came, by the way, because you are saying fuel and oil for transport 2.6 million. Then you say fuel for production 815,000. So, Chair, I have total unnecessary expenses comes to around 12.8 to 13 million from general office expenses, catering, health celebrations, printing and stationery, computer accessories, telephone and communication expenses. And I have found an interesting thing, Chair. Governor, do you outsource consultant services because you have paid 776,000? Who are these people? Does it mean you have professional? Does it mean Nandi County and your chief officer of health is here? Does it mean Nandi County lacks some of the professionals, and that is why you are outsourcing consultancy services, where you are paying in one financial year 776,000? So, Chair, you can look in unnecessary and unfortunate expenses. It comes to more than 13 million Kenya shillings, which comes to almost a half, or even almost a half of pharmaceutical supplies of 26 million. That is why the governor has argued that there is delay there is not an availability of drugs, because he is spending it on unnecessary expenses. So my question, Governor, what is the justifiable reasoning or spending these 12 million in health celebrations, in general office expenses, in printing and stationery, in computer accessories, in airtime, in professional consultancy. And Makiu, I will assist by guiding you that when you talk about catering, there is already a provision of food and ration, which I assume this is one is being supplied to the patients of 4.6. Even if you are to say doctors and nurses are consuming 3.4, they are almost consuming the same as the patients, yet the patients are much more. So that will be my third and final question. Shall I yield the ground?
There are so many questions. I don't know whether, Governor, you are writing down all of them.
But I requested, Chair, if you had, I requested him to write it down.
Chair, I think, and maybe just need guidance, analyzing the details of a budget was not an audit query. If we needed those details and the Senator wants those details and the committee
Chair, on point of order, Article 229. It says the Parliament shall consider
kindly allow me to talk. You have had your bite. To a forum come specifically to address ourselves to specific questions and specific issues. Details of analyzing the item by item of the budget, there is a whole process of how a budget is arrived at. It's not a decision of the governor. The budget is including public participation, including the county assembly, and therefore the details of those discussions of this one and this and this, if then the senator needs details on those ones and we are communicated in writing in good time, we can respond so that we can be able to give specific responses to each of those questions. But really, if you look at what we came, the audit queries, we are here to respond. If we allow that kind of questioning, then I might then require to have a whole team, but also in good time for us to discuss. So I think what the senator has raised, valid as they are, if you can be able to share with us in writing, we can be able to respond to all those issues. But really, it would be fair that we are able to deal with audit queries as captured and, on the basis of what I was invited to come and respond to, than really to go on, on a mission that, again, I am able to respond on top of my head on those issues. Yet, we have a whole team and a whole process and a procedure how budgets are done. I may even find when a budget is done, even if you have concerns as a governor that maybe this should have been, that is why it is, we provide a budget that goes to the assembly, it goes through public participation, it is amended, certain things are changed based on the input of the public and the county assembly, and therefore when the budget finally is approved, it may not be exactly what the governor had provided for. So really, let's just be fair so that it doesn't look like this budget is drawn exclusively by the government. And if we want to have a discussion on the budget and the entire budget line by line, I think a better forum should then be availed so that then we can have that discussion. So I think let's just be fair in terms of what needs to be responded.
I think what Senator Cherargei was doing was that the query on budget and performance, it showed there were variances between what was budgeted and what was actually spent. So what he was trying to analyze is actually the financial statements that and linking it to that query, that maybe the expenditure was varied from the budget because of the transaction that are listed here. So I think he was struggling to try and link that to the budget performance. But anyway, let me give him a chance to respond.
I think you have captured partly what I asked. I was just looking at the budget performance and control. And even I asked a basic question to the governor. Do we need hiring of consultant services? You should have said we don't have a gynecologist, for example, or oncologist, and say that's the reason we pay. It is a simple question. So, Governor, Chair, what can happen if the governor would want to respond on budget priority that are on his own financial statements, and then the committee can write a letter to him. But my other questions the governor has avoided is even a simple question, revenue collection from Kapsabet all the way to Kaiboi hospitals, are they automated? Governor, do we need a meeting? I thought it's a yes or no, and which company is doing the collection? I thought that was a very fair question. And another question was why you are missing your targets in terms of revenue collection. And then number three, Chair, because we are on budget performance and control, is on the issue of priority. My question, Governor, the reason I was giving an examples of your own audit, and I know your fund manager is there, is I was asking, do we need to spend in your own financial statements, which is not generated by the Senate or OAG, do we need a priority of 13.1 million as opposed to 26 million that we are using to buy drugs? And then finally, Chair, Governor, the committee can write and request for details on those line-by-line budget. So, Governor, you arguing before this committee in Article 229, Parliament shall consider reports from OAG. Then, Governor, why should we have this meeting if you can write written submissions and you don't need to appear before this committee? Because if we cannot ask clarification in consideration process to process our audit reports that will be taken, then why should we have a meeting? Is it necessary? So if you can answer the 4 questions on the budget line, the committee can write, then you can respond. But can you respond on the issue of collection of revenue, the target that you have missed, the issue of priority, and the issue of the automation? And I ask a very basic question. You and me know that, and Chair, it is on record, and it is on the audit report of 23-24, that most of your stall projects are linked to hospitals. And I was asking, could it be the reason that you are upon that? Because newborn mother and baby in Kapsabet is yet to be finished. Your own hospital, which is in Kobuja, is yet to be finished. Kapsengere is yet to be finished. Chepterway is yet to be finished. And it is in the audit report, which is part of this consideration. And I was asking, could it be the reason why you are missing your revenue target and therefore affecting the budget performance, which is part of the audit query? So for the governor to say the issue of budget is not an audit query is misleading this committee, because one of the audits that are here is on the budget performance and control. So can he answer the questions, or if he doesn't want to answer, we can leave it at that.
Well, maybe I can give your point is well noted, Senator. Your point is well noted.
Chairman, yes, nobody has underplayed the importance of appearing before the Senate. But also, we could come here and we have a whole discussion on literally everything under the sun. It is possible. But I think for effective utilization of the time before the committee, the order has been that then you come and respond to audit queries. And that is my simple thing. I'm not saying that what he's asking is not, but get a forum for us to discuss those ones so that we have those details. But then if you discuss,
these are audit queries.
Why don't you
listen? This is on the audit report.
Yeah. Let him finish.
Unless the governor, sorry, Chair, unless I didn't get him right. I thought the governor has a benefit of the audit report. The question I'm asking is emanating from the budget.
If the senator can spend more time listening, because he is speaking, and even when I am responding, he is speaking.
I'm active listener. And I think the governor is taking this meeting casually. Because the questions I'm raising, to be fair, even members here, is I'm asking valid question, is our systems of collection of revenue hospital automated? Does it need a little explanation, Chair?
Okay, let me direct this.
Yeah.
We have our fiscal analyst here. Yeah, I think the issue here is the query on budget control and performance, and the senator is trying to relate this to the financial statement. So we will ask you, because we need to make progress, to analyze what he has pointed out and then draw a parallel with that query of budget control and performance. In the committee at report writing stage, we'll make a decision on that matter, because I'm saying we are going to spend a lot of time on this back and forth.
Chair, maybe with fiscal analyst, what is the revenue potential of Nandi?
Thank you, Senator. Through the chair, under CRA, based on the latest report they gave, that is a report on the year 2022, states that Nandi County, the revenue potential was around 4,353,000,000. That is based on that report. However, as a county specific, based on their target for the year under review, the target was 558,309,869, and they collected 307 million, which is appropriation is around 55% based on what their target and what they actually collected. Thank you, Chair.
That is the reason you got, Chair. That's why I was asking, because even when you look at the overall on-source revenue, they are still missing the target, just the potential. And maybe, Chair, so that we close that question. So does it mean Governor will not answer my questions? So that I leave it, I know how to make sure.
No, I think what the governor is implying,
yes,
he had prepared to respond.
But Chair, let me ask you a simple. I have just asked, is our systems automated? Does it need to prepare? It is up to basic people. It's a yes or no. And then in consultant services, I have asked, do we have oncologists, for example? He can say, no, that is the reason we hire.
Chair.
So it's simple.
Okay, let us allow him.
Or Chair, we can write a whole letter, then he can come and answer another day, if that will assist him to answer.
No. Let us allow the governor to take quality time to give an explanation, and then we move.
Because so, Chair, I will respond to the issues that touch on our appearance here. On the question of automation, yes, all our revenue collection collection processes are automated. Through consultancy services, we provide radiology services in Kapsabet. We do not have, radiologists and certain other consultants that we have to pay consultancy services for them to provide those services. So we have those categories of specialists that we do not have, but we have to outsource their services. In terms of the various projects that are ongoing within the county, FIF is not financing, the various infrastructure projects that are ongoing. They are being supported or they are being funded by the county budget. FIF largely targets the resources that are being raised within the hospital from the services that we offer, and the same money goes to the services and goes to supporting the continuity of those services. So there are no infrastructure projects like the ones that you have mentioned that are being funded by this. Chair, in terms of prioritization and budget, rationale, I think that is a discussion that we are happy to engage if the details are given in terms of what the senator wants to know, and we can be able to respond to those ones.
I think, Chair, the government did not get you very well with a lot of the Chair, I didn't mean that. I'm aware FIF does not find infrastructure. I was saying this matters has been read, and I was trying to tie up that would it be the reason we are missing revenue target by 41% in collection of revenue within the health facilities. I didn't mean that you are using FIF to fund, because we know the law. So that does it affect the performance of collection of revenue within the health facilities within Nandi?
No, it does not.
That's my simple question.
It does not.
Yeah, I think we need to make progress. As I directed, your issue that you have pointed out, we will allow the fiscal analyst to analyze it further and give us a report as a committee. Senator Mudamu?
No, Chair, because you have ruled, I think I hear the frustrations of Senator Cheregai, but I think you should just direct that even if the governor was not ready today, he can respond back with a letter, can write back with the answers. Thank you.
We will wait for the fiscal analyst to give us a report, and then based on that report, then we can write to the governor. Senator Chimera, put yourself on record.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, members. Good afternoon, Governor and your team. My name is Senator Chimera, Senator from Kwale County, member of this committee.
Maybe before we end, we have a last query there, which members thought that we just need some direction from the governor on what the county is doing to address it. Lack of an internal audit function and audit committee for this fund. Governor, maybe you can tell us more about it.
So, Chair, the internal audit function was affected by a staff audit process that was ongoing in Nandi County, and we are saying that that internal audit unit would be serving the county, but also all the funds under being run by the county government, and therefore we are as I have indicated, the management is actively coordinating with Public Service Board to prioritize and facilitate the deployment of dedicated internal auditors, the auditor to the FIF section at the earliest opportune time possible. And going forward, the fund will rely on the expertise of the audit committee, which has been constituted at the county level.
Mark, I would like to hear from you your comment on that issue.
Yes, Chair, that one is it's a requirement of the PFM that each facility has, each fund or each entity has its own internal audit function. But maybe, Chair, maybe the question then I would want to ask is if going forward the implementation of FIF Act 2023 may require the resolution of this fund, maybe the government may need to have internal audit function in each hospital, because then to be an audit query in 24-25 if there is no internal audit in each facilities. And maybe the continued existence of this fund also may raise another audit query in terms of implementation of FIF 2023. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, maybe Governor, that's why we were saying at some point you may need to relook at this fund, because if you are having an internal audit in every hospital, then again you have another one for the FIF fund. It is in itself very expensive, and because the law insists on that, it will continue being an audit query. So there are so many things that are pulling you to the fact that you may need to relook at the whole thing of county FIF and maybe just comply with the national FIF. Senator Cheregai?
I think, Chair, Governor, when was this staff audit? Which year? When were you doing staff audit?
Last year,
2024. And there is a public service report to that effect.
Yeah.
So my question is, this matter was raised two financial years ago in 22-23. 23-24. So, and you know these internal audit mechanisms play a critical role of oversight. So we are in August of 2025. Are there any minutes that OAG has seen with your intention of establishing an internal audit committee? Is there any minutes that has been considered and has been shown to the OAG for particular, because Chair, this audit is important because it plays oversight with the funds, that if it does this work, these matters cannot be raised or escalated to even OAG or even, and you know this oversight should have even assisted CPA fund manager by looking at some of the lapses. So, Governor, before you did staff audit, is there means to show the intention of establishing this internal audit committee?
No, the internal audit committee is there. What was affected are the staff under the internal audit department function in the county, but the audit committee exists.
That there was lack of internal audit function and audit committee in your audit report. Are you aware of this existence of this audit committee? Because there should be minutes of them sitting, doing their job. Their allowances being paid. I've seen 1.5 million. I don't know whether it's part of the audit in their financial statements. Through the chair. Proceed. It was to the OAG first. OAG, please. Because the governor has said it exists, but in your report you doubt the functionality and existence.
Chair, for this report, we are just pointing out that there is no committee for the FIF, but there is the main committee in the hospital. That's in the county, I mean. There is the audit committee, but for this one, there is none.
But through the chair, during your discussion with the entity, did you indicate to them the need to have the audit committee, and did they show any intention of even giving you minutes of meetings to establish the said committee?
We discussed about it during the audits, but we don't have any minutes to that effect.
So as of now, within the knowledge of your work, is non-existent. So Chair, I think the committee will go on this matter when we are writing the report.
Yes. Okay, very well. So I think we proceed to the next fund, which is the bursary education fund. Over to you, Auditor. You take us through the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Report of the Auditor General on Nandi County Education Fund for the year ended 30th June 2024. The first issue, Chair, is presentation and disclosure of the financial statements. The financial statements presented for audit was not page numbered according to the requirements of the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board, whereby the page where the financial statement starts with page 29 instead of page 1. Thank you, Chair.
I think in our pre-meeting, honorable members, we said that the query on presentation and disclosure of financial statement and the query on the misstatement of bank charges account and the query on misstatements in cash book be handled together, because they have an element of accounting inaccuracies and errors and such. So, Auditor, you can read
Thank you,
Can
Chair.
read the three queries, and then the governor will respond to the three issues. Then members, you can now raise queries and comments. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next query is number 4, misstatement of bank charges account amounts. Note 12 of the financial statements disclosed bank charges amount of Kenya shillings 471 and 62. However, the respective schedules disclosed bank charges of Kenya shillings 474, 428, resulting to a variance of Kenya shillings 3,365 that has not been reconciled and explained. Further, no supporting document was provided to support the bank charges amount of Kenya shillings 471,062 as disclosed in note 12 in the financial statements. The next, Chair, is number 6, misstatements in cash books. During the year under review, the fund management prepared cash books. However, the fund did not provide the petty cash book and put on survey certificates for confirmation of bank balance. In addition, an analysis revealed that the management spent Kenya shillings 4,243,000 on administration costs, while the Excel cash book had a balance of Kenya shillings 3,645,790, leading to a variance of Kenya shillings 597,210. Thank you, Chair.
So, honorable members, the first query is about compliance to the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board in terms of numbering of reports. The second query, misstatement of bank charges. There was a small variance of 3,365 shillings in terms of the bank charges in the schedules. And then the last misstatement of cash book, it means there was a misstatement of cash book amounting to 597,000. So, Governor, maybe you can respond to each of those points.
Chairman, under query 1, the management response is that the error arose during the final compilation and printing of the financial statements. The omission is highly regrettable and will not occur again. The financial statements hereby annexed under Annexure 1 is the amended one. Under 4, misstatement of bank charges, the response, Chair, is that the variance arose from a clerical error during the preparation of the supporting schedules, where the total bank charges was erroneously captured. The reconciliation has been undertaken to confirm the correct figure of Kenya shillings 471 and 62 as evidenced by the bank statement in Annex 3. And number 6, Chair, the misstatement in cash book, the management response is that the above documents could not be provided at the time because of the challenges occasioned by the staff audit. The petty cash book and the board of survey certificate has since been provided, and it is Annexure 5. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Auditor, I would like to get to a comment on the 3 responses.
Thank you, Chair. Number 1, on presentation and disclosure of the financial statements, management did not comply with the reporting templates as at that time. Then the next, on misstatement of bank charges amounts. Mr. Chairman, no evidence in the bank statements attached. Then finally, Mr. Chairman, number 6, misstatement in cash books. The Excel cash book was not accurate and Code of Survey report and analysis cash book was not provided. Thank you, Chair.
Let me start with members in the committee first, and then I will go to the committee. Senator Kisan? You know, Chair, what the auditor is saying, you know, after reading the question, the governor responded, and there are things the governor said they are already provided, and I thought the auditor was going to respond to what the governor said, but he has just repeated what he had said earlier. Because what he should have said then, they have already provided in this particular, when we told them to come to the committee, but you didn't receive the documents during audit. This basically leading to late submission of documents. That's why I thought it will come from the auditor, but he has just repeated himself. Any other?
Chair, with all tremendous respect, I don't know whether the wage is the witness or the government, but that is a story for another day. Chair, what the clarity I needed through the government is Kamel here, the fund administrator. It's Kamel Ruto Talam. Governor?
No, she is not there. She left.
She's standing. She was here with us. She was here with us, Governor. She's also sick, or what is happening?
Kind of order, Chair. Chair, I think in all due respect to the Senator of Nandi, his line of questioning, you know, I think he should allow the auditor first to respond to the concerns of the member.
Then Chair, I also take offense. I was asking the auditor a question, and then the senator, who is a friend of the committee from Nandi, is asking who is supposed to be queried. The auditor also here needs to give us clarity. We are not relying only on the responses from the county. We also need the auditor to help the committee. So I take offense from what the senator from Nandi said. Okay. Auditor, please respond to the senator from Elgeyo Marakwet.
Thank you, Chair. I'm saying that the presentation and disclosure of financial statements, actually financial statements cannot be amended once we are done with the audit. The certificate is out. That's what I'm saying. That management did not comply with the reporting templates. So that issue we can't resolve unless it's now up to the committee, because the financial statements were all done and signed.
I think you were, Senator Cherege was trying to find out which accountant signed. Can you check your records and tell us?
No, Chair, I think I was finding out where is Kamel Talam, is the fund manager.
That was the fund manager then, but she left. So now we have a new fund manager.
What is our or his good name? Kosgei?
Nicholas Kosgei.
Or Nicholas Kosgei. So this Kamel left the county. The governor is not, she no longer works. So Chair, I know if you have seen, and I hope the committee has noted this, that there is competency and capacity, but there are so many errors. Because presentation of financial statements, these are first year class of accounting. So Chair, now the immediate boss of SCAMEL was Chief Officer of Finance and Chief Officer of Governor. Who is the immediate boss of SCAMEL? Talam. Is it the CC Finance or the Chief Officer?
The Chief Officer.
Of Finance or Education?
Administratively Education, functionally Finance.
Chair, because I see these are the same errors that can be traced back to FIF when they were doing, because presentation of financial statement should be something. Governor, let me just ask a basic question. Do you have faith in the capacity and ability of your officers. Because looking at presentation and disclosure of financial statements, misstatement, and provision of documentation, do you have faith in the ability and capacity of your staff? Because you can see these small things, you should be discussing better things, as you have said. Do you have faith so that we don't waste a lot of time with the staff that work for you?
I have faith in them, but I also have faith in continuous improvement. So we have to continuously build and improve the capacity of our staff.
So if I ask you, with errors like the human error our brother talked about, presentation of disclosure, misstatement, are you willing to take administrative action against these officers?
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
Okay. I think the committee can take it from there.
I think, honorable members, we, as I said earlier, we have had this problem with not just this fund, we have had it with the FIF and even the other funds. And Governor, you promised that you are going to do an improvement. And CEC also promised us. So I think we do not want a repeat of this in the next engagement we are going to have for 2024-2025. Otherwise, the committee is still left to the decision to make as to what they are going to do to the accountants involved.
And maybe, Chair, in addition, would the governor be kind enough to report back on the administrative action he has taken against the said officers before you do your report writing, so that when it comes to the floor and some of us read who are friends of the committee, you can be easier to have the last view of the action that the committee will take. Thank you.
In the previous engagement we had for Nandi, I think we gave them an opportunity to go and reorganize the team in the finance. And that reorganization, I think, will give them a chance to prove, so that in the next financial year, 2024-2025, if this recurs, then we will know that very little was done, and someone will face an administrative process. Mark?
Yeah, maybe to further improve on management and to deal with the misstatements. The query on misstatement refers to Excel cash book, so maybe the automated and we're able to use a software. Some of these challenges will be addressed. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking that is the governor has agreed that he will take administrative action. So as a reporting mechanism, he should be able to write back as per your direction in our previous engagement, where you are directed that administrative action be taken. So what I was requesting and you are ruling is that to direct the governor to report back on the action that you gave the ruling, maybe in the next coming days, I'm not saying immediate today, so that when your report will come to the floor, as the area senator will be able to track on what we had discussed before this committee. Thank you.
Well, administrative action, many people think that administrative action is a punishment. It can also be training, it can also be reorganization. So I think in our interim recommendations, we can highlight that so that the governor can maybe in 30 days, you can tell us what administrative action you have taken.
You know, Chair,
administrative action is not necessarily punishment.
Chair, some of us who this law, we beg to differ with you. Administrative, on a lighter note, it does not mean retraining on capacity building. It is taking the disciplinary action against the same member, and that is why even in our parliamentary powers and privileges, the administrative action that can be taken against the member is to apologize, to be punished, to withdraw, to be fined. So, Chair, the retooling and retraining does not capture, because the interpretation of administrative action in labor courts has been litigated on. But just that is for discussion, the terms of the interpretation of administrative action is.
Okay, let me rephrase it and say this. Let me rephrase it so that we don't appear like we are contradicting what we had said earlier. We said earlier that we will allow the finance department under the governor to reorganize himself through training or through getting the relevant qualified people to handle some of these assignments. And then they come back to us in writing about what they have done. I do not want to go into the aspect of administrative action because we have said the committee is going to make a decision on the issue of the accountants and section 62. Yeah, so I don't want to preempt what the committee is going to
I don't
say.
want to defy your ruling, but you know you are a very good neighbor.
Yeah.
Neighbor is neighboring Nandi. When you use the word that they might be unqualified people in office, I get worried, and you know my people are well learned. In fact, among our subtribe, our community leads in most of the brilliant professionals. So I take an exception when you say, unless the governor confirms otherwise, to say they could be unqualified people in office, and therefore you are giving the chance CEC to get the qualified people. Maybe, Governor, you need to protect our county. You are leaving our county with people to imagine that we have unqualified people in office.
But through you, Chair, the reason why the Chair is talking like that, Senator Chereka, is because there are many errors in the report, in the financial report. There are many errors. So these errors should not be coming. That's why the governor is talking like that. So the governor, we are all that qualified. Then where are the errors coming from, Chereka?
Yeah. So maybe, thank you, Senator Gavindo, through you, Chair, with the intelligence. Can the governor confirm? Because we have unqualified people in this office as governor. No, Chair, that is a very serious statement, because the jury is outside there. Because your words are so serious and it goes to answer. That you have directed the CCM to go and reorganize and get qualified people. So the reverse of that statement is the unqualified people that are committing these errors.
You see, as we have seen, you remember in the other report we did,
yes,
when we asked who is the accountant who signed, most of them were qualified ISPAC members.
Yes.
Qualified. But in the previous presentation by CEC, he indicated that they have a shortage. So they will try to see how to manage the few people they have and see how they can be reorganized so that we do not have these issues happening.
So we agree with you, Chair, in my own interpretation, that these errors that we have seen with both FIF and Education Bursary Fund are professional misconduct, because we have people who are qualified in office. They were just derelict their duty, and I'm happy the governor has said he will take administrative action. Then the committee will also give direction on that matter. The governor has been on record. But for the purposes, we have so many qualified people from my county.
Let's leave it there, because we have said we are going to make a decision.
But I can see the governor wants to say something.
Don't block Chair. The Senator of Nandi has made, I really agree with him, but he has made a good defense of the county. So, and our...
For once the governor is smiling.
So I agree, we have qualified people. I think, as I have indicated, administrative action includes what you said as Chair, but also what Senator Chimera and Senator Cherargei have said. So we are properly guided, Chair.
Okay, let's proceed to the next query. Unsupported committee seating allowance, auditor.
Thank you, Chair. Unsupported committee seating allowances. The statement of financial performance reflects use of
represent you during the exit meetings with the auditors? Because some of these matters which are coming, the file has been provided. If it was provided to the auditors, then this query will not be here. So the person who represents you in those meetings
Chair, Chimera.
Thank you, Chair. Two issues, Chair. Number one is on the issue of the documentation. I don't know why it is not possible when these guys are carrying the audit exercise, documents are suddenly not available. But when it comes to this committee, documents are available in bundles and bundles, Governor. So perhaps you may need to address that. And secondly, I feel your response on the issue of this income tax, and by the way, it's if staffers at the county level cannot comply to very simple regulations like the income tax, which Senator Seragay was really defending here. My issue is that the response is fairly...
And clarity, I didn't defend the incompetent staff of the governor. I defended the people of Nandi by saying we have qualified people. Maybe the governor employed the wrong people. Thank you.
Okay, that is well noted. I also have an interest in that county, Chair, so my words will be measured today. Telling us you've engaged KRA to agree on a payment plan. KRA is not the ones who received these allowances. Are they still receiving allowances with this income tax still pending? Are you paying them for allowances and then you have an agreement with KRA? We want to understand and hear what agreement is there to tangibly recover this tax that was erroneously paid to the recipients, being the committee members, and not what you agree with KRA. Thank you, Chair.
And Chair, also, what happened? The organization.
Detailing the directors, and members have said what goes, the county should not pay should be having letters also writing to the committee members if they are still around so that it can be recovered. Secondly, Honorable Chair, 7 is the we can have some comfort that there is something that has been initiated here. So where is the communication? Let me give a chance to Governor to respond.
Before Governor responds, for KRA, for them to be able to negotiate with KRA on a payment plan, there has to be an issue where KRA is aware. And Kisan's question is very crucial. governor is reporting himself to KRA, or there is any documentary of this matter, and that's why they are agreeing on a payment plan. Otherwise, I feel this response should not even be in these documents, Chair. It is very casual. I mean, it is insulting the...
Governor, proceed.
Through the governor, one chair is that we have many obligations that are pending regarding care and care. We're trying to reconcile a number of the tax obligations that are is that we do not necessarily take minutes, but all the issues that pertain to care are raised within that meeting. And these committee members are still in office, so is from their allowances going forward, and care definitely think, Chair, is that it's not so huge because we pay sittings are not so many, so as soon as we have the going forward in the subsequent sittings, and pay the members net sent to care. We'll check in case of any member who's left going forward. Thank you, Chair.
Does that address all the questions that members were asking?
Chair, through the governor, yes, indeed. Confirmation is that our last meeting
there are two parts. There is a recovery of tax, which you can easily do, and you are saying you have done it. Maybe you will need to give us evidence that it is, which it will be good to have that evidence, because it is not on the file. The evidence that you are engaging KRA tax that was supposed to have been paid. It is not in your documents.
Physical meeting, then they give us a letter. As soon as then we have the letter, it shows whatever is standing in form of withholding taxes, committee allowances. Perhaps that would be the document that would then be able to.
But what do you say about the late submission of documents?
Chair, as really inexcusable. We, in the last presentation in this committee, we asked does what is required, and already the reorganization that has happened is such that most
Chair, I just want to ask hand over these documents to the Auditor General when documents. What made you not deliver the documents to them at the right time? Why should they follow?
The issue of the issues were a bit specific because whereas we still had the human resource audit, the staff account, so we those issues of engaging with a new organization may have affected her effectiveness in sorting this issue. Yeah, but really it's the staff audit.
To anyone else, and you know, as you answer these questions, there is no vacuum in government offices.
That we needed to regularize some of the hiring processes, and therefore any staff that perhaps was picked or whose files were picked that needed regularization really were not. So that is the actual effect that happened. But of course, while being at home, also some of the staff also between
Now, Governor, thank you for handing over me to. I believe it is not about, it's about the competence and ability of people working. Because if we have noted these errors, the audit that the governor did in 2024, and in that financial year, Chair, 29.8 billion on wages as per the Office of the Auditor General report. In that it is not about lack of staff, it is about incompetence and ability. And the governor, the question was run to say lack of staff. You know, it doesn't make sense, Chair. Number two, has been given that the good governor has given of 600,000. So I don't Chanja, this forger that has been provided of 600,000, what is the law? Can you give somebody money to go and take money on their go and pay another one? So you will highlight things that are missing the law that no one collected of this payment voucher unless Camel went away with 600,000 from 7 to 8 December 2023. The minutes, as my brother Senator Chimera is our even there was the schedule of attendance at Alliance Hotel, it was on their signature. you can see only it was education scheme meeting. So the veracity of this document, and you know, Chair, the section 62 of the Public Audits Act is very clear. For the punishment of lack of document. Don't want cooking to happen. Where is the it is violating the procurement procedure? So can the government obligation and pre-qualification of this company? Governor, finally, I can see you are among the attendee on 6th and 8th December 2020. At Royal City Hotel. Were you among? Because you are among the attendees of that event. As by the law, you should be and attendance provided for. And finally, forger number 427, although it is unwritten, identification of bursary beneficiaries for financial year 2023 as per the attached schedule. There is the stamp of Nandi County Education Fund and the fund manager, but there are no details. Forger number 427. But know the details of the officer who picked 127 million. So we not unwritten, but in this one it is, and you have just seen being made to facilitate the officer. Who is this officer that is collecting 1.7 million, and where is she taking, and where Canadian mark whether I'm not, and then I come and give out. Does the law allow?
For sure, we can allow, not you.
No, sitting analysis, you know, Chimney is excited for things I don't know. Maybe Mark and Kinoti can say something.
Mark, you can respond, and then let the governor respond also.
What should
happen when issuing of interest, each person should be able to collect their money, because the interest is issued to an individual. So when you surrender,
there's something that Senator is really, and I mean, for a part of indulgence. But then again, Chair, you know, this name Scamel keeps on coming up many times, and I mean, natural justice. This lady is not before this committee, Chair. But she left the fund as well, Chair. I don't know how we will proceed, and I seek your direction to. And the good senator keeps on referring to her. It is unfair to her wherever she is, Chair. We don't know how we will get her. Thank you.
When you take office, you take assets and liabilities. And the governor has sworn before. So anything that will come out of this confirmation under oath. So therefore, with all tremendous respect to my in-law, Senator Chimera, this Camel is the fund manager.
As to authenticity of the document signed by Scamel, we can only get responses from that particular Scamel. And Chair, this committee has powers to summon this particular Scamel. It is wrong. It is not here, Chair.
Honorable members, let us proceed with the issues in that way. Because the governor has taken an oath on behalf of the county.
Correct.
Very good.
So let us strictly adhere to the issues.
Because even for example in this payment voucher, it was paid by two people. Chief officer, which I believe she's here with us, and the fund manager. So one witness is already here, so we can still rely on that one witness.
The governor is going to guide us on how the questions are going to be responded to.
Yeah.
Let him respond, and he will guide us on how they are going to be responded.
Respond. I'll start with the one for the schedule attached, Chair, the allow massive committee, which were 2 days. The committee members the time this may take to clear, they request that the have a schedule showing the name of the committee member and the signing for each of the days and the amount, and then of course as they
same case to the amount of Kenya shillings 1.7.
The chair, since you are you are contravening the position of the law under the PMF Act.
Chair, I am aware through the chair that yes, indeed.
Knows this challenge of interest, where people are being issued interest and then they end up misusing or generate even fake names. I can say, for example, Chair, that is why this issue is serious. CCM, now that we are speaking to the governor, he noticed that the chief officer and fund manager have picked 600,000 and 1.7 million or it is 24 people attended. The last person is Charles Kaito. That's why I was saying this thing is manufactured. And the person who manufactured, Chair, 2 people human error in payment of 280,000. Chair, you know, in my car, during that cotton leg minute, it means somebody who wants to lie, they think they are smart until they are caught. So this receipt of the alliance, who are this accommodation and 25. Because there is no consistency in your attendantship. Is there proof of these 2 extra? Yes. Can I finish? You laugh all the time, Governor. And we are ready to sit up to midnight. So what I'm saying, Governor, and allow me to documentation during because you are aware that these documents were not available, somebody needed so Chair, can I finish? Why is the governor in a hurry to answer? If he has the answer,
I don't want this back and forth. Just finish your question.
That is why he should,
and then he will respond so that we make progress.
he should the driver is already here. In that, please provide us that this Alliance Hotel
those issues at once so that we make progress.
Alliance Hotel is a pre-qualified service provider, and if that I can confirm, if we need details and documents, we can
document. So really, those extra two part of the staff supporting and the amount being paid there is 1,000 shillings. So really, these are the documents for 2 members supporting the staff. So
if you are spending that this document on the attendance I still believe these are manufactured documents. Chair, can I get George? Can I after the NASEF meeting allows look at number 22 prescriptive. Part of the ID is empty, but strong reason. Even if you have come with your driver or PA, that if they are attending an official meeting like this, that you are catering for their accommodation, for their meals. So Chair, these are manufactured. There is no idea of the CEO of Finance, but it is signed.
This touches on section 62 of the Public Audit Act. Been provided, yes, but they were provided after the audit.
Documents inclusive of the late submission of documents so that we can verify the authenticity.
So the auditor is the one who has in the accuracy of the documents before, not us. So the auditor, please say something on that.
And maybe Chair, if you can allow.
So that we can take it seriously. Chair, just in conclusion, so that as you have directed that this auditor, if you look at I'm willing to provide. It is there. It is annex number 2. After the one of 600,000, you go to the letter that was written by fund manager. Then the third to be fair, governor, give kila mtu at least a but
fair stated. We believe that management, they are not doing any games. So for this one, we checked, and of course we saw that Kipchumba verified, and so you know.
Yeah, to do it. Supposed to determine the accuracy of the document. So moving forward, maybe auditor, you need to
this 127 million, can the government is the sub-county admin or what? The question I have, then that don't do. The chief officer has speak 127. He writes a letter of I think the chief, county secretary. because it is stamped.
Chair, let me
other queries to go.
Yes.
So let him respond comprehensively and then we make progress.
To pick up from the 1.7 million. The team in process, of course, other than the NASEF committee, give lunch is that for the 7 days, the staff, the county staff are just given something for lunch, which in this